Passive aggression is one of those behavioral traits that leave you dazed and confused in uncomfortable conversations. It's a little nuance that sets you emotionally unbalanced as you are left to meander in a cacophony of disillusion with the brain fog as your friend, your coworker, your friend, your spouse, or even your child skillfully, artfully, and maybe not so tactfully calls you out on something that you are not prepared to deal with. Passive aggressive behavior, well, that's a pattern. It is a behavioral trait that expresses someone's negative feelings towards you in an indirect way. This causes you to question their motives because what they say and what they do, it doesn't jive. It just doesn't add up. It's like they tell you they like you, but then they ignore you. They tell you how sweet and loving and kind you are to your face, but then they have this look of disgust written all over it. You not only see the disconnect, you feel it, and it makes you feel very uncomfortable, as it rightly should. Of course, if you've wronged somebody, you want to help make that wrong right. But with passive-aggressive behavior, it leaves you powerless to move forward, to do anything to make the situation right. In this video, I'm going to help you take back your power. Believe it or not, you can definitely own your cool when it comes to engaging in conversations with someone who shows passive-aggressive behavior. You don't have to become disempowered because the other person can't own up to their feelings in front of you truthfully and authentically, whatever, in front of you truthfully. Your disempowerment in the conversation is rewarding to them as it rewards them on their bad behavior. Passive aggressiveness is avoidant behavior. It's dismissive and it can be ultimately demeaning as it allows the aggressor to further abuse you through gaslighting and manipulation, leaving you in the position of power the narcissist wants you in. This is a form of communication that allows the narcissist to take control. They take control of you emotionally by leading the conversations one way while allowing their body talk and mannerisms to lead you in another way. This type of conversation abandons trust while you struggle to hold on to it. Imagine, if you will, you are walking along with someone and you are the one who accidentally steps in quicksand. You have one foot firm on the ground, but the other foot is stuck, and the harder you pull, the deeper your foot actually goes. That's what a passive-aggressive conversation looks like. And although you realize you are in trouble, the friend who is able to help you gives you a pull, a tug that holds very little effort to get you out of that quicksand. And then they give you a push while saying, "Whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that." The truth is, the aggressive person did mean to push you just like that. And when you give it some thought, they were the ones who actually led you on this path in the first place. And they led you into the quicksand because they knew where the quicksand was. That's the reason why they didn't get caught in it also. They directed your path. Oh, exactly. The narcissist leads you conversationally into danger on purpose. But why? They want you to feel ashamed, belittled, feeling less than, because they want you in a position that lacks control. And that position is feeling rejected and belittled. And it comes with thoughts of feeling unworthy. And this is all because of their inherent need to remain in control. Before the conversation, their feelings for them were overwhelming to them, and they used you as the pressure valve to release some of that growing pressure. They may have had an issue with you, but they chose the passive-aggressive side to ensure that they had the upper hand. It's all about keeping your emotions off balance. Their emotions are in balance to begin with, and yours, not so much. You are living in peace, going with the flow, and they need to balance their own emotions by unbalancing yours. That's how they feel better. If they came out to say, hey, you did this, and this made me feel that, and you made me feel mad, and here's why. Well, you might and probably would make attempts to remedy the situation and make them feel better. That gives you control as you then make them feel better, which gives you control over their emotions. No, the narcissist can't have that. They have to make themselves feel better. Perish the thought that you could ever rectify the situation by taking control of the situation. Nope, not gonna happen. They want all the control for themselves. And you know that saying, no man is an island? Well, they create that no man's land to become that island, and they want jurisdiction, title deed, as they want everyone to get off their lawn and stay off. Their emotional turf belongs to them and only them. But I digress. There are other ways to take control of the passive-aggressive situation. If the narcissist doesn't want you to help ease their discomfort, fine. It's not your problem, and it doesn't have to be your problem. It only becomes your problem if you allow it to. If the narcissist wants to push you further into that proverbial quicksand, all you have to do is turn their line of thinking around in your favor. When they pull back, you pull them forward towards you. And this gives you leverage, as this will naturally set them off balance, and they'll naturally pull forward, and they will then grab their footing and brace themselves so as to not fall into the quicksand themselves. And this is where you can use their leverage to pull yourself out of the situation. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do that, because I want the main takeaway to leave you feeling empowered, motivated, on fire to take back your power, and stand in it and own it. You deserve to be treated well. You deserve to have those healthy boundaries in place, and you deserve to have those happy people in your life who actually champion your success and who shoulder you through the less than triumphant hurdles that help you to reach your goals. You are worthy, and you deserve to be loved as you deserve to love yourself. So hello, and thank you for joining me today in this video. My name is Shannon Gilmore, and I am here to help you understand a little something about the toxic behaviors within the big behavior that is commonly known as narcissism. You have probably heard the term passive aggression before, and you probably have experienced it, but you may have only recognized what you were dealing with after the conversation was over, am I right? And then that left you ruminating in your head what you could and should and would have done differently or said differently. Yeah, I've had those conversations too. In my mind, I came up with some really good humdingers, those awesome comebacks that would have shaken the toxic person to their knees. And they were always reserved for the next time, but next time never happened. Oh, but the passive aggressive in conversation, well, that next time certainly did. And I was always caught off guard, as that's what passive aggressive conversations do. So So let's answer this question. What is passive aggression exactly? Well, it isn't caused by you. You are not at fault, as you are not to blame. So please don't take that kick. As mentioned earlier, it is a behavioral trait that is expressed by someone's negative feelings towards you, and it's expressed in an indirect way, a veiled way. Something that leaves you, did they say that? Didn't they say that? Did they mean that? No, they didn't mean that. Passive aggressiveness is tricky to navigate on its own because at times it may be indirectly directed at you as you are the direct target. But other times, although you are the direct target, there's a situation or maybe there's someone else that came in before you that triggered the passive aggressor. And that person is not able to rectify the situation with that other person. So you are the next best thing. And what was once an allowable offense made by you suddenly is no more, and you're picked apart 7 ways to Sunday. It's not your job to navigate your way around this, to help them see the cause of their passive aggressive ways. That's not why I'm explaining this. But giving you a backstory into this, I'm sharing this with you to help alleviate the tension and the ruminating ways that passive aggression causes for you. When you understand what passive aggression is and how it's used against you, then the better you can stand on your own power and not let the negativity affect you. The person who uses passive aggression naturally has a lower self-esteem than you. They are not aware of this, but they make attempts to hide this lower self-esteem. They hold onto a blind notion that they are naturally better than anyone else. They may use superficial items such as money and affluence and clothing as a way to assume that they are greater as you are the lesser. They may make more money than you and lord it over you. They may wear fancier clothing than you. They won't say this to your face, that they think you're weaker, but when they need to let off steam, shh, you are the go-to person for them to let go of that pressure cooker valve. And they will tell you as much in their passive aggression towards you. Now, because of this blind notion, they feel they have a right to talk down to you in the way that they do. They will not only talk down to you in passive aggressive undertones, other times they will accept you and your flaws, and they may overlook them, but don't think that they are overlooking them. They keep track because the passive aggression comes from a place of hidden jealousy, and hidden jealousy, takes notes. Where there is jealousy, there is competitiveness. Where there is competitiveness, there is a need for control. Narcissists enjoy using passive aggression in conversation as it's a mainstay, as it maintains their sense of control over you, over themselves, because it is the only time in conversation that they can covertly gain the upper hand. May I say that again? Narcissists enjoy using passive aggressive conversation. So be aware of that. Passive aggressiveness is learned behavior. Mom and dad have more influence over us than we might think. The narcissist uses a mom and dad stand-in, us, a surrogate if you will, and they project onto us what was projected onto them long ago. That is why they believe that they can get away with talking down to others in their passive aggressive behavior. They take the mommy and daddy stance, the person in position of authority. Because they don't see relationships being equal. They don't see relationships being a partnership. There is always a hierarchy in their mind. You are the submissive and they are the dominant taskmaster, just like their parents were to them. So what does passive-aggressive behavior look like? You may not always know it when you see it. This includes resentment and opposition when others make demands on them, especially those who are in positions of authority already. So the passive-aggressive person will treat you like a subordinate, opposing any direction that you give them and resenting that you gave them a task to do. They feel like you think that they are beneath you. And so they retaliate. They take direction personal as a kick to their ego. And so they try to control you or other people in positions of power by opposing you in some way. Now, the passive-aggressive person may come across and appear as being cooperative, but the reality is the aggressor sabotages any camaraderie by resisting cooperation. They deflect and avoid performing tasks as they procrastinate, as they may even intentionally make mistakes, whoopsies, on purpose in retaliation to make you look bad or to just get out of doing something. And this is in response to the demands that are put on them. You may see this behavior in some sort of shutdown where the person walks away or refuses to acknowledge, and they may even abandon plans. This is stonewalling at its finest. You may also see the aggressive behavior as cynicism, a hostile attitude perhaps, or even a non-committal one. One may be ineffectual with you, meaning that they show no emotion, as they may blame shift and put the blame on you and others while taking no responsibility for their error and lack of judgment. Their behavior is self-sabotaging, yes, but it also sabotages you. And it's very undermining to you and to the project or task at hand. Passive-aggressive behavior is abusive behavior and interferes with relationships and causes problems even on the job. So here are some tips to help you navigate your way through a conversation with someone who is being passive-aggressive towards you. Just because someone may be in a position of power does not mean that you have to sit through and take the hit or the attack on you. You don't deserve this type of treatment. That's the number one rule to know is this. That's the number one rule to know, that you deserve to be treated better, and you don't have to take anyone's aggressiveness. You are not anyone's emotional punching bag. Even if it doesn't feel like a person is attacking you directly, you still do not have to absorb the toxic negative energy coming from the passive-aggressive person. The second rule of thumb I'd like you to remember is to remain alert and do not allow yourself to get upset. You are allowed to remove yourself from this situation as you should, as quickly and in as few words as possible. If you sense that someone is being passive-aggressive towards you, here are some things that you can do to help yourself out. These are tools of assertion to help you remain in your integrity and to help you get away from the situation with your dignity and respect intact. Number 1, be brave and hold eye contact. Don't look away. Do not allow your eyes to look aggressive, of course. Simply look into their eyes and listen. Do your best not to look away, as looking away from the perspective of the aggressor is a sign of submission. Number 2, don't jump to conclusions. Listen, even if the words that you hear are uncomfortable, give them the benefit of the doubt and hold their eye contact, as they might be struggling with what they are trying to say and it's coming out all twisted and not as how they intended. So what you can do to alleviate the growing tensions in this situation, you can say, I understand that this is a hard conversation. Shall we try again? Did I hear you right in saying this? and state what you heard back to the individual. Now, number 3, if they persist in their line of attack towards you, and they probably will, how you know that they are resisting your line of approach is that they're not listening to you. They're choosing to circle back to the conversation onto what they want to talk about, and they're spearheading the topic with passive-aggressive remarks. So now in step number 3, it's time to assert your autonomy, which is your God-given authority. You can say something like, I don't know why you just said that, but I'm not here to defend myself. This is about X, Y, and Z. Just remain calm and remain peaceful. You can also say, if you are in error, you can also say, I don't know why you just said that. I'm not here to defend my character. I'm here to defend what I did wrong. And make apologies for it if you need to. Acknowledge where you're in error, but don't take responsibility for something that you don't need to take responsibility for. And here is number 4. If they persist in their passive aggression towards you, call it out. Don't tell them that they're being passive aggressive, but call it out in a way that asserts your authority. They have had enough chances to know that you know what they are up to and what they're doing. They are just now at this point trying to trigger you and press your buttons and make you look bad in front of them and in front of other people. Don't give them that power. So all you can say is, now, what are you trying to do? This is a good lead-in to get them to either stop and reassess what they're saying, or at least be honest with you in their approach, and chances are they're not going to stop. And they will keep pressing you, which narcissists tend to do. So this is what you do. You simply remove yourself from the situation. You can walk away and say, gotta go. You can say, bye-bye. You don't have to say anything. Just make your exit. But when you're in front of someone such as a boss or a coworker, this is much trickier. You can still make your exit by saying, thank you for this conversation. I take what you say under advisement. I appreciate the insight. Thank you. Of course, be honest and sincere in your approach and just walk out. Find your exit. You don't owe the passive-aggressive person any response or any reason why you're leaving the conversation. In fact, if you do give them a reason, it just gives them a reason to backbite you more. So don't give them any ammunition. Dealing with passive aggression is off-putting, but it doesn't have to ruin your day. I myself, in making this video, was reminded of a recent scenario. I was ignored. I was dealt with passive-aggressive behavior. I was given the cold silent treatment, and instead of reacting in a way that I would have in my past, that would have us both arguing, I just gave this person space and walked away without saying a word. I detached myself from the situation. I was in a situation where I could have said something, as I had every right to say something and tell this person that they were being dismissive. However, in doing so, I would have given their behavior the attention that it wanted from me. I'm not here to appease anyone's ego, and neither are you. The new me just ignored their presence. We do not have to cater to people. And if we hurt someone's feelings, by all means, that person has a responsibility to tell us that. So in reflecting with God, he shared this with me, that being ignored is a trigger for me. It is what I use as a measure to people please. If I go out of my way to help someone, then that satisfies an inner belief that I won't be ignored because they will see me as being nice and will want me around. This is an old limiting belief pattern from my mommy issues, as my mom neglected me when I was little. And I see that now, and I see it, I addressed it, and now it's something that I can use moving forward with my other relationships in my future. I will say that I did reach out in text with this person a few hours later. I put out the feelers. I was nice as I gave this individual an opportunity in text to share with me as I began a lead in to have an adult conversation. But I was ignored, and a day later, the text was answered with, "I don't know what you're talking about." This is classic, as there is a term for this response, as I mentioned this term earlier on in this video. Do you know what it is? Comment down below. It is important to recognize the signs of narcissism even with people you are close to, because their ways are soul-sucking and they are keeping us from reaching our potential. Silence speaks volumes, and I just wanted to share with you my situation because we have all this knowledge about narcissism, and it doesn't mean that we will now avoid narcissism. We have to learn to navigate our lives around it to ensure that we are not harmed, or at least we're not as negatively affected as we could be. And I've noticed that when you learn something, life will give you a little test, a little lesson to see how well you manage yourself in that new learned information, as this information is meant to cause you to change your behavior. For me, I realized that this person is only one person in a long line of potential friends yet to come into my life. And that kind of excites me because I'm looking for, as I change, I'm looking to see the change in other people, and I'm excited to exchange that positive potential energy with others. The passive-aggressive nature, well, this is low energy, and I personally don't deserve to be treated with low energy, and neither do you. You do not deserve to be treated with low energy either. God's people are not to hang around with that kind of devaluing, soul-sucking vibe. It's in His Word. So if you want to know more on how to stand up to a narcissist without entering into a raging argument or without being triggered, I have available to you a free ebook entitled Talk the Talk, Assert Your Way into Healthy Relationships. In this book, I share with you the value of being assertive and how it can help you form healthy relationships through communicating your needs effectively in authenticity. Not only that, this book will help you to remain respectful to yourself by holding those healthy boundaries, but also respecting the other person who still may be disrespecting you. If you do read this book, let me know what you think. A link to the download will be available in the description of this video. So please check it out and get back to me on your thoughts, your comments, and your suggestions. So in this video, I've given you 4 tips on how to deal with passive aggression in conversation, and I have also shared with you how to identify passive aggression and where it comes from. It's a little bit complicated, but we lightly touched on it in this video. In truth, passive aggression is a form of communication, but it isn't a healthy form of communication. It has been my hope that this video has helped you to find your courage and take back your power by taking a healthy stand against passive-aggressive natures, by standing in your power and owning it. Yeah! You were meant to live this life in greatness. How do you do that? By going and making this day great. So off you go. I love you. Talk soon.